Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily Practice with me, Benita. Today's episode is a short exploration on how I built my dream lifestyle where I can thrive, live a healthy, nourishing existence without excessive so-called biohacking or technological intervention to optimize my health. Because this episode is really a message to you if you're spending a lot of time on finding the next gadget to optimize your health. If you live in an urban environment, using like red light therapy, using grounding mats, using whatever else it is, blue light blockers at nighttime, to come back to yourself, to come back to that baseline health, I'm here to tell you that there is a better way, that you can actually create a life where those things just happen, where also things like exercise are built into your daily routine, and you don't need to go to the gym, although you might want to if you have specific fitness goals, but where daily movement, daily red light, daily grounding, daily, all of that is actually a part of just your daily life. And that's what I have, and you can have it too if you so choose. So really, I want to emphasize that real health, deep, profound thriving does not come from more tools or gadget or interventions. It comes from a radical alignment with nature. So I'm going to share how I built my barefoot coconut garden sunset watching lifestyle, and it's an invitation for you to do the same. Maybe it's different for you. Maybe you don't want to live in the tropics. Maybe a different climate is more suitable for your constitution and personality and everything. But I'm just here to remind you that you have agency and you have the power to not just rely on a chicken lamp to give you the light environment or blue light blockers to give you the light environment that you deserve and thrive in, but you can actually create that for yourself as a natural lifestyle. So, yeah, just to repeat or emphasize is that I'm not from here. I'm living in a country far, far from my native people. I'm native to Northern Europe, and I'm currently living in the tropics. Okay? I noticed throughout my youth and childhood and or early adulthood that living in a cold, dark climate most of the year is really not for me. That anytime I would go south where I would see sandy beaches and palm trees, I knew that this feels good. The ocean is my mother. I need to be close to it. I need to be nourished, healed, and elevated in frequency by the powerful oceans of this planet. So a lot of people say, oh, it must be easy for you to live this or that way because you live over there. Yeah, but I chose to. I made sacrifices, I made compromises, and I took time to look at my life and see what is meaningful, what serves me, and then I chose it, okay? So yeah, I have access to the ocean in my front yard. I have fruit trees in my garden. I have coconut palms all around me. But it's not like I was born with it. It's what I chose. So really, the invitation is to, instead of looking at the highlight reel of somebody's life or looking at how it looks from the outside and say, oh, they're so lucky because they have this, they're so lucky because they have that. You don't know their story. You don't know what they've foregone to have that reality, or how it is perceived. So there's always also trouble in paradise. So there are other things that I've had to let go of, or there are things that arise in my life here that have been very, very challenging. But because I know what my priorities are and I know what is good for me and my family, I've worked through those. So yeah, personally, I come from a place where the winters are long and harsh. You're inside most of the time. The people are maybe not as friendly. It's harder to make social connections. There's a certain rigidity in society, okay? I knew that even though there's probably a bunch of people who thrive in that environment and they choose it or they stick with it, put up with it, whatever it is, I knew that that wasn't for me. So this is really an invitation to reconsider your power, your agency, that you really have the option always to change your environment, even if it requires hard choices. So, yeah, to emphasize, instead of getting more gadgets, instead of getting more tech appliances or grounding mats or blue light this or, trying to optimize your really unhealthy and unnatural environment in the cities or wherever you're at, you can actually just remove yourself and place yourself in an environment where the environment is the so-called hack. I don't need all those things because I get the original red light therapy every night watching the sunset. I don't need blue light blockers because I live in a place where there is next to zero light pollution. Same, I don't even get phone signal here. The Wi-Fi that we do use, I can just unplug it and I have a fully non-native electromagnetic frequency free home. And if I do feel like there's some sort of imbalance from that kind of exposure, I'm going to jump in the ocean and I feel refreshed, renewed, and balanced again. I'm going later to take my dogs up for a walk in the jungle, barefoot. I don't need a grounding mat. Really, the body feels right. Your body feels at ease when it feels safe. And nature is the original safe place. Truly, as soon as I get my feet on the ground, when I touch the ocean, when I feel the sand between my toes, there's just a certain full body sigh, a release, and a coming home. Because sometimes we do go to the big city, an hour or so away, and it'll just feel agitating, not just physically, but emotionally, energetically draining to put myself in that situation where I have to sit in traffic, go to places, there's cell phone towers everywhere, and just in general, the buzz of the city kills my buzz. I feel detached from myself, I feel anxious, and then as soon as I come home, touch the earth, touch the beach, touch the ocean, everything changes. So, I'm gonna squeeze in a little bit of announcement or reminder in here. Just if my message, my podcast feels like it's appropriate for you, if it feels like you're resonating with some of the stuff that I'm talking about here, make sure you are actually subscribed to this podcast. I publish a new episode every Monday at 10 a.m. I'm still on Mountain Time because that's where I spent the past few months. But wherever you are, Mountain Standard or Daylight Saving Time, that's what we're doing, 10 a.m. Mondays. And if you want to go a little bit deeper with me into embodiment, breathwork, and actually living this aligned lifestyle, I'd love to have you inside my Patreon. And that's where I share a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, practices, and some of the more woo-woo or real talk I don't really feel comfortable sharing in other places. So let's get back to the topic of this episode. So yeah, now I've shared a little bit of what my current lifestyle is and how it serves me personally. So look at your own life and how can you start designing, making choices that bring you closer to your true home, where you feel safe, nourished, thriving, alive, full of vitality and excitement about life. I bet that for most people, it's not looking at concrete walls or being surrounded by this bzzz of electromagnetic frequencies and all that stuff, where you don't know where your food's coming from. It's shipped in with big trucks. Like, you don't actually have any connection to who and what you are as a being. You're being essentially domesticated or kept in some kind of zoo, or some might go as far as call it prison, you know, living in some kind of glorified closet. And this is not to say that a city life is always just garbage. I've chosen to live in urban environments for extended periods in my time, in my life, because there have been certain, let's say, cultural aspects or other things that I've found meaningful in the city. Like, let's say when I was performing spoken word poetry regularly, or I was doing stand-up comedy regularly, or I wanted to attend a university. Those are rich or like enriching and beautiful and meaningful, you know, pursuits that are only typically to some extent available in the cities. But I have been fortunate enough to find a small town in the tropics where actually a lot of those things are available here too. Anyways, I, of course, have chosen to live here far, far, far away from my family, my biological family, who are over on the other side of the ocean. And of course, I miss them. And of course, it's, for some people, maybe it's even harder to leave their roots and leave their family behind. If you feel a duty, a love, a connection to your people, then obviously it might be harder. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to put it, I had so much trauma or difficulties with certain aspects of my family life that wasn't always an issue. Of course, there are people from my childhood and my family members that I do miss and look forward to seeing whenever I go back to Europe. But you know, it was a choice I made, and this was especially during the time of the pandemic. There was a certain political climate in Europe that felt very, very, very hostile and very, very scary. So for me, coming to a place where I could continue to live a lifestyle that's free and joyful was so important. And I was so blessed to actually take that leap and travel during that time. So, yes, obviously, if you have a family that you're close to and they're not your parents, siblings, whatever, cousins, uncles, that they are all in one place and you're the only one leaving to chase your dreams, it might seem difficult or even an unacceptable trade-off. And that's a choice that we all have to make. I guess for some personality types or some family situations like mine, it wasn't the obvious choice, but it was a relatively easy choice. I knew that I had to secure a future for myself and my family that is truly in alignment with my values, and where it's easy for me to make choices that are positive and that help me thrive physically, spiritually, mentally, socially, and in all aspects. And certain sacrifices and trade-offs had to be made. So, whatever circumstance you are in, that's kind of a cost-benefit analysis each and every one of us has to make. And okay, I say cost-benefit analysis, but usually we know in our heart and our body. Okay, especially women, you'll make a choice and you will know if that's the right choice. Do you feel like you're sinking, feeling heavy, feeling anxious? Or does it feel almost erotic? This is what I desire. This is what I feel almost like turned on by getting on this plane, heading to whatever location you're going to. Does it really feel exciting in your body? Does it feel like you truly, truly yearn for it and it feels aligned, true, and appropriate? Okay? And see if you can do the same thing with the other option of staying where you are. And then you'll know. So, what does it take to design your dream life? Obviously, what I said, it's recognizing that there's a trade-off, but you will know in your body what the right choice is. So there's a certain amount of courage. There's also, in the tarot you have the card, the Fool. It's like jumping into the unknown. It might or it might not work out. And if it doesn't, okay, do you take the infinite, should we say, you take the milk train back home? Is that what you're going to do? Even if you do, that's maybe not a bad thing. At least you tried. At least you took a shot. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of challenges in forging your own path, being some kind of pioneer, There's, okay, now I'm in this new place by myself, or maybe you brought your family. Okay, but we're here and, okay, we got to start from scratch. What are we doing? Where do we get this? Who's going to help us? And of course, it's a big job to create community, create your friends, find those people that are there for you in that new location. Obviously, there's some other, of course, there's a financial cost, financial uncertainty. Have you created an income, a source of financial stability that's going to sustain you no matter where you are geographically? But, then when you get there, you'll know. You'll be like, hey, I can actually live with less. Of course, we live in a world where a certain amount of dollars in the bank is necessary, but when you have your own garden, when you have a certain security that comes from being actually aligned with nature, you'll have far less, doctor's bills. Well, personally, I would suggest don't even go to the doctor. We have so many tools and so much information and so many people who are actually way more informed and have a better understanding of healing than some so-called medical doctor that I would even, not as medical advice, but just as experiment. What happens if you don't go to the doctor and actually trust your body to heal itself by eliminating toxins and eliminating harmful things in your environment, by living in a place where you are actually aligned with nature? So there, like, just as a thought experiment, I'm going to invite you to do this. If there were no limitations, financial, social, mental, anything, where would you be? What would your dream life be? What would it look like? What kind of home would you live in? What kind of garden would you have? Would you have a garden? Would you, what is the perfect environment for your body, for your constitution, for your being? What kind of environment does your body, the deepest layer of your being, crave? And what would your life look like if you actually trusted your body? So, this whole talk episode has been an invitation for you to build your dream life. Start making aligned choices that take you closer to where you need to be. There's a bonus tangent that we could go on where, if you're into astrology, what is also interesting is to look at your astrocartography, and you will see certain planets make these lines on the map of the world, and certain planets' lines will give you a clue as to where it's healthy for you to be. But I'm no expert in that. I just find it very, very interesting. And actually, I'm currently in a place where my Venus line crosses. So that's maybe something worth looking at, but that's a whole other talk. But I guess the point is, I'm not better or different than anybody else. I've just lived a life where through experimentation, I've found what kind of environment I feel really, really safe, good, and regulated, where my nervous system feels like it can relax. For me, it's the beach. For me, it's being surrounded by coconut palms, fruit trees, birds, swim with the fish, look at the dolphins, look at the whales, walk barefoot on the jungle trails. That's what I like. That's not for everyone, obviously. But whatever it is for you, and if you're not feeling safe, comfortable, relaxed where you're at, then start making those choices. Don't get another red light mask. Don't get another grounding mat. Or maybe do for now, but see if you can start making choices, even radical choices, that change everything for the better, right? Or if there is some reason, whether it's family, work, education, whatever it is that's kind of requiring you to stay more in an urban environment that maybe necessitates more of these gadgets or biohacks to actually feel aligned or thriving, then what are some of the other things that you can do? Can you spend the weekends in a place where you can actually reset your circadian rhythm, where you can actually really balance your body and ground and nourish with nature? There. So if you're listening on YouTube, please do leave a comment. What are the things in your environment that you would change? What is your ultimate biohack? What is your ultimate environment that you would actually feel safe, grounded, and relaxed in, where you could actually wake every day full of excitement, vitality, and just feel like you're thriving? Like I mentioned earlier, I have my Patreon. It's open. So if you want to join, it'll be so fun to also connect there. And obviously, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or any other platform, please do leave a review. That will make a huge difference, and it will allow this message to reach more people. And obviously, if your friends or family might need some encouragement to plan their dream lives and make some changes, please do share. And also stay tuned on Friday for the next practice video. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, a good practice is the one you do.